Hi everyone, it's Nat from Little Cozy Things here. I just finished my first video tutorial on doing the Larksfoot stitch, so I just wanted to come back and do another tutorial on my version of the Larksfoot stitch, which is this one here. So they're pretty much the same, it's just one tiny little change to this one and it creates this fabric, so it's a bit more of a solid fabric. I got a lot of questions on Instagram when I made my rainbow blanket in this stitch, and everybody was asking me why it looked different to the original Larksfoot. So this is why I'm going to be doing this video to show you the difference. So I originally did it in rainbow colors, so I'm just doing it all in one color now, but this is the original Larksfoot in the rainbow, so it looks a lot different when you do it in a solid two different colors. So that's that one there, the original, and then this is my version. So you might recognize this for Instagram. This is the one that everybody's asking the questions on. So that's my rainbow version, and here's my solid version. So this is what I'll be doing the tutorial on today. You can also find my tutorial on the original version on here. I just finished that and that's been posted up. Okay, so we're going to be doing, this is what it looks like in multicolors. Rainbow colors, my favorite. And this is what it looks like all in solid. Right, so let's get started. Here, put that to the side. Now the twins are napping and we'll probably be waking up in a minute, so hopefully if I cut out and start again, you know why. Alright, so the Larksfoot, I'm just going to keep calling this the Larksfoot, it's just my version of it. So you want to do multiples of 4 plus 1 for turning. So you make your blanket as long as you want, just start with multiples of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just keep doing that until you've gone as long as you want, or wide should I say, as you want your blanket to be across. So I'm going to chain 24 for this sample, so that's 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 23, 24. Okay, and then chain 1 for turning. So when you've got to the width that you want your blanket to be, you just do that one more chain and that will be your turning chain. Now, sorry, just bear with me, I've got a bit of a cold, so that's why I sound a bit snuffly, so I'm so sorry about that. Alright, so now I'm going to assume that you know how to do double crochet stitch, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. What we're going to do now is I like to work in these back bumps of the chain, and some people like to work in these loops of the chain. Doesn't matter, completely up to you. I just prefer the bumps. I think it finds a straighter bottom edge. Okay, so we're going to DC into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. DC. So you skipped 3 chains, they become your first DC, and there's the DC that you just made, your second DC, and DC again. So 3 DCs, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip the next chain, and then DC into the next. We're going to do another 3 DCs, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip the next chain, DC into the next, 1, 2, 3, there you go, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, oops, chain 1, skip 1, and 3 DCs. And you just do this a whole width of your blanket, 1, 2, 3, until you come to the end. So all the way across, chain 1, skip 1, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I was just worried then that I hadn't chained properly, but I have. I always get nervous at the end of every row. Okay, chain 1, skip 1, and then the final 3 DCs. 1, 2. Now the last one I like to tuck my tail in, so insert hook, tuck my little starting tail in, and DC. Now I get my tail and I pull it, and it just makes that all neat. Just a silly thing that I like to do, and it makes your tail, tuck your tail out of the way. Some people like to work it in. I just leave it and I'll sew it in after. Alright, so that's your first row. Move that. So 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, whole way across. This is exactly the same starting row as the original version of the Larksfoot. So we haven't changed anything yet. This is exactly the same. Alright, so the next row, we're going to copy this row. So our next row is going to be 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, exactly the same. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn. That chain 3 becomes your first DC. Excuse me, sorry. First DC. Now I'm going to DC into the second DC and third DC. Okay, so there's 3 DCs made, just like the bottom. Now I'm going to create another gap. So chain 1, skip the chain 1 of the previous row, DC into the first DC. 1, 2, 3, 3 DCs again, chain 1, skip the chain, 1, 2, 3. So there you go, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, exactly the same as your first row. And you keep going, chain 1 all the way across, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip 1, 1, 2, 3, one more to go, chain 1, skip 1, 1, 2, and 3 into the top of your beginning chain. Okay, so this is always a bit tricky getting in there. So tight. There we go. There's your hook. 3 DC. There you go. 2 rows. Exactly the same as the original Larksfoot stitch. No different yet. So there's your first 2 rows. 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1. 2 rows. Let's have a drink. Hang on a sec. There's a plane going over at the same time. I don't know if you can hear that. Alright. Now, we're going to start the long DCs next. So, there are those really long bits here. That is what I call a long DC. I don't know what the proper name is, but I'm going to call them long DCs. Now, I did think afterwards maybe you could do a triple crochet for this instead of a double crochet. It would probably work, maybe better, but I've just done a normal DC. So go ahead and do a triple crochet if you feel that that's better for this stitch, but I'm just going to do a very long DC. Okay, so next I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that counts as your first DC, chain 1. So then we're going to skip this next stitch and DC in the last. So when you've done that, you'll see that that's your DC, chain 1. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. Just chain 4, skip 1, DC in the next. Don't overthink it too much. Alright, now normally with a Larksfoot stitch, if you've seen my previous tutorial or you've done the stitch before, what we would do is yarn over, go in here and do a long DC stitch. That's what you do for the normal Larksfoot stitch. Now I've got a video that I previously did on that stitch. We're not going to do that. I actually did this completely as a mistake, and this is how I created the stitch. So instead of going in here, I went all the way down to here, to this skipped chain and your starting chain. So that's what we're going to do now. Yarn over, go all the way down. See that chain that you skipped at the beginning? We're going to insert the hook in there, into that skipped chain. It can be a bit tricky, the rest of it isn't. Yarn over, pull through, and now you're going to bring your hook all the way up, jiggle it, jiggle it, jiggle it. Keep going until it is in line with the other loops on your hook. Sorry, I lost my words then. See, yarn over and finish your DC. So you got one really long DC there in the gap. So don't worry if it's pulling a bit, because what will happen as you're working, it is going to stretch that out and it's going to relax a bit. So try not to do that stitch too tight so it's not pulling. But there you go. And then we're going to finish the DC and the top of the first DC of the previous row. So DC. Okay, so I'm going to do it again, so don't worry. So if you didn't understand that, if I went too fast or anything, so we're going to chain 1. So there's your 3 DCs made, just like every other row. 3 DCs, chain 1, 3 DC, chain 1. Skip the next stitch. Do another DC in that stitch. 3rd stitch. And now we're going to do another mega long DC right down the bottom here into that skipped chain in the first row. So yarn over, put your hook into that loop of that skipped chain. See? Whoop. Yarn over, pull up a loop all the way to the top and finish your DC. And we'll do a 3rd DC into the next stitch. Beautiful. Now if this isn't making sense, what I would recommend you do is actually go back and try doing even just a sample of the original Larksfoot stitch, like this one. That way you'll get the idea of these long DCs and you'll understand what I'm talking about with going into the skipped chain instead. So see, this is the original here. Let's get my hook out so I can show you better. This is the original Larksfoot stitch. And what I did is, instead of putting the long DC into here, I've gone down into this spot. So I've pretty much just extended the long DC down one more and covered this hole to make a thicker fabric. That's it. That's the only difference. So if you want to stop this video now and go off on your own, you know exactly how to do it now, that's fine. If you've done this stitch before, you'll find it really easy now to just go and do this. Oops, just threw it. You'll just find it really easy now to go and do this, because all I'm doing is extending this long DC into that spot. Okay, so if you're struggling with what I'm doing now, go back, find my previous video on the original Larksfoot stitch and just extend it. Just practice this one and then go back and watch this video, and it should make a lot more sense. So let's go back to it. So you've done your third DC, chain one, skip one, DC into the third. Now we're going to do a really long DC all the way down into that skipped chain. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, and finish your DC. DC into the next 3. Chain one. Now, sorry, I'm splitting the yarn because I'm using Paint Box Simply Chunky yarn in Bubble Cup Pink, which is color 350, and they actually recommend a 6mm hook, but Nat is using a 4mm hook because Nat didn't think this through properly, and this is my go-to hook, so I'm slitting the yarn because of that. Anyway, I love this yarn, it's beautiful to work with. So chain one, skip one, DC to the third DC of the previous row, mega long DC here, into the chain, pull it up, 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 up. You might need to jiggle it a bit, and finish your DC. DC into the next. So 3 DCs, 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Chain one, skip one, 1 DC, all the way down. Now this first row is always tight. It's not going to be like this. Let's do that again. It's not going to be this fiddly the whole way through the blanket. It's just that those first chain 3s, those first chains stitches that you're going into now are just a bit tight. So, and you got nothing to hold on to here, whereas when you go up, you're going to be able to hold on to fabric. You got nothing to hold on to here, so it's just tricky to maneuver your hook into this. That's why I'm struggling a bit. So don't worry, it's not this fiddly. Last DC. Now you're at the end, chain one. We're going to skip that one and go into the last skip and finish with a DC in the last chain 3 there. So it looks like the beginning here. There you go. So there's your first mega long DC row. Look at the back. Looks the same. So then as you work, you're going to fill in all these gaps. There's going to be no gaps on this version. It's going to be one solid piece of fabric. Now, I'm sure you can tell the long DCs have gotten all twisted and a bit messy, so I go ahead and just with my hook and I just untwist them now because I get really irritated by it being all messy like that. And there you go, you don't have to use your hook either, just untwist it with your hands, pull it a bit, there you go, much nicer. One more, pull it out. And there you go. Okay, so let's keep going so you can see the solid fabric here. Okay, next row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn. Skip this one. DC into the first. DC into the top of your long DC, DC into the next. So all we're doing is we're copying this bottom row except for the mega long DCs. So we're doing another set, just like the first row, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs. So that's all we're doing the whole way across. done your 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip that 1, DC into the top of your mega long DC, 2, 3, all the way across, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip it, 1, 2, 3, and you're at the end now. So you want to chain 1, leave 1 chain there, and DC into the 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3. So DC. So then it's like that. So you got that skipped 1, because now what we're going to do, so we're going to do another row of mega long DCs, and they're going to go in these gaps, okay, to create your solid bit of fabric. Okay, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your way, and now we're going to do a mega long DC here to fill in both those gaps. So yarn over, and now we're going to go into the top of this DC here. So yarn over, insert your hook into the top of the DC, pull up a loop. Now you want to keep it quite loose here, don't pull too tight. Pull your yarn all the way, see? Now it's, there you go, all the way up, and finish up. Now it might get all tucked in, just pull it out. There we go. See? And DC again. So there you have. And twist it. Yeah, mega long DC covering those two, covering these 2 gaps. So chain 1, skip this stitch, DC in the next. Now we're going to do a mega long DC. So you're going to go over these 2 chain 1s of the previous 2 rows, all the way down into the top of this DC. So yarn over, insert your hook into the top of the DC, yarn over, pull up a loop all the way to the top, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and DC in the next. So there's another mega long DC done. Chain 1, skip the next DC, DC in the next, yarn over, skip 1 chain, skip the next chain, go into the top of the DC, yarn over, pull up a loop all the way up so it's in line with the other loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and DC in the next stitch. Keep going until the end. Chain 1, skip 1, DC in the next, yarn over, skip, skip, into the DC, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, and keep going. Just gonna go through mega long DC, pull it all the way up. See how it's not as fiddly as it was in the beginning, because I've got something to grab onto now, so you're not like trying to poke around in there. It's quite easy to go in. Chain 1, skip 1, this is the last one, DC. Now the ends can get messy So what will happen is I want to do a mega long DC now. Now if I was to do it just as normal and yarn over and go down, see how my yarn goes to the side here and it's like missing all of this. So if I was to finish it, and then you'd be like, ah, where's my last DC going to go into? Because it's actually tucked in under here. So let's just ignore all that, unravel it, or frog it. Okay, so what I do is when you're ready to do that mega long DC at the end here, I just hold the last chain with this hand, with my yarn hand, just to keep it out of the way. So it's a bit fiddly, but at least you know where you're going then. Yarn over, skip that into the top of the DC. Hold on to the fabric, yarn over, and you can let go now because it's tucked out of the way, see? Pull it up. And there you go, it's out of the way there. Pull through, and now you can see where you gotta go. Yarn over and DC into the final stitch, which is the top of the chain from the previous row. And that's it. You're at the end of that row. So once again, they're all twisted, which drives me a little bit insane. I don't know if it's the way I do my double crochet that's twisting it. I don't know if other people are going to find the same issue, but it drives me a bit batty. Alright, I'm just going to stop there because my battery in my camera is about to die, and I'll continue on with the next bit. Okay, so now we're going to continue, and we're going to do another row mirroring this row below. So it will be 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, 3 DCs, chain 1, skip 1, just like you did here. Okay, so it will look exactly the same, and we'll do a DC in top of the mega long DC stitch. So I'm just going to go through it one more time so you can get the gist of it. So 1, 2, 3 chains, turn your work, DC into the next, and 3 DCs. So 3 DCs on top of your previous DCs, and now you're going to create a gap, chain 1, and 3 DCs again, all the way across. So chain 1, 3 DCs, chain 1. Can't believe the twins are still napping for me. Must know that mummy was busy. Chain 1 and oops, see, too busy talking about the kids and not concentrating. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and the final 3. 1, 2, and then DC into the final 1. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more row to show you of the mega long DCs, just so you can see. Now what you will be doing is you will be repeating. So now I've done these 2 repeats. You're going to be repeating what I've done the whole way up, so as long as you want your blanket to be. So just keep doing this over and over and over and over again until you've gotten to the length that you want your blanket to be. There's nothing else that you need to do. It's exactly the same as what you've already done, and eventually here's a little something I did a bit earlier. Ta-da! This is what it's going to look like. So you're just going to keep, see, just cover that up. So you keep going and going and going and going until your blanket is as long as you want it to be. So no need to have a pattern, nothing like that. You can make up your own pattern, you can make up your own dimensions, you can do anything like that. Just start 4 chains, multiples of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, as wide as you want the blanket to be, plus 1 for your turning chain, Then do this pattern repeat all the way up and you'll have your beautiful blanket. So that's my version. Now you can stop here if you like and go off and grab your yarn and your coffee and your cake or your chocolate and go for it. I'm just going to do how I like to finish. So I like to finish the blanket so all the gaps are all covered up. So you'd finish with one more row. So say this is the length that you want your blanket to be. You're all done. You've gotten it as big as you want. Now you just want to do that final row before your border. So to do that, we're just going to do one more very long DC row just to cover up all the holes. So 2, 3, 4. Skip one, DC into the next, do mega long DC all the way down, pull it up, see, and DC in the next. Now that will still create one hole here, and I don't like that personally, because what's going to happen is the top of your blanket is going to have this one missing chain there. So I'll show you what I do instead for my final row. Okay, just undo this. So instead, say, okay, this is how long I want my blanket to be. Ready to do the last row before the border. I'm going to chain 3. Okay, and then I am going to DC straight into the next stitch. Normally you'd skip that, but I'm going to go in there because I don't want to create any gaps. So we're going to DC the whole way across this row. Okay, DC into the next, and your mega long DC, and there you go. Now, oops, look what I've done. See, I missed it. It's just stretched a bit down. Mega long DC. There we go. It's just a bit stretched because I frogged it and redid it. That's why. Okay, so DC in the next. Now, because this is the last row, you'd normally chain one and skip one, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep DCing into the next one and into the next because I want this row to be solid. So it'll look like the bottom. See? Nice solid row. DC. Okay, so sorry, my camera keeps cutting out. I just wanted to quickly say, so you continue doing that all the way across, not chaining one and skipping one like normal, just continuing to DC, and eventually your final row will look like this. Ta-da! So it will be all full and nice, and you can start on your border. So that's it. That's my version of the Larksfoot stitch. I hope you like it. You can see my original video on the original stitch as well here on YouTube, and here is my colourful rainbow version, my favourite. And if you like this video, let me know in the comments, and also if there's a stitch you'd like to see me do, let me know. That'd be great. I like doing these videos so far. And follow me on Instagram at littlecosythings. Thanks. Bye.